Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's time once again to meet our community, the Hispanic business community here in Orange County. Powered as always by the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio, streaming live from our studios here in the University of California, Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Center. And today, we're going to go on a musical journey. John Gutierrez may even join in and sing. I hope not, but...
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to our community podcast show powered by the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I'm your host, John Gutierrez, Senior Vice President here. And today we have another special guest with us, legendary, and I mean legendary mariachi, of course, the Mariachi Divas, the Cindy Shea. Cindy, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Can we turn these down a little?
Oh, down, okay.
Because I'm hurting.
He kept doing it. I kept turning it up.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll turn it down because...
Okay. How's that? Is that better?
Yeah. Well, I can't hear anything now.
You can't hear it? How about that?
Let's see. Test more, 1, 2. That's good right there. Right. Yeah.
So she is a diva here.
No, I just want to keep my hearing. It's one of the few things I have left. I'm already losing my eyesight. Old age isn't fun, okay?
And that's interesting you say that because I know that hearing and the whole voice is very critical to everything you guys do, right? I mean, that's just such a key component. I know the ladies, they were over this weekend at my house, and I got to say thank you and shout out to them because they did an amazing job singing for my mother-in-law's birthday. And I got to say, Mariachi Divas has been part of our chamber for many years because you guys have been involved in our Stray Awards.
Oh, yes.
Right? And so before we get into all of that, and of course, for everybody listening, we're going to get into the new album that you guys have released also here shortly, right? It's like an 80s theme album, right?
Yeah.
And so we'll get into all that. And then also, of course, it's Stroke Awareness Month. And of course, Cindy has unfortunately been through a situation where you dealt with a stroke yourself.
Right.
And we'll talk a little bit about that. But before we get into all that, I'd like to get to know you, Cindy. That's usually what we like to do on the show. If you don't mind sharing a little bit about you and, of course, how this all got started. I mean, you're the founder of it. How'd you get to this point?
It's kind of that could be a movie. It's a long story.
Where'd you grow up?
Well, I grew up in Hacienda Heights.
Okay.
Went through the whole music program. You know, I played a trumpet, started at 8 years old with trumpet. Didn't know that my mom was part of an all-female drum and bugle corps when she was in high school until many years later in my career, actually. And it was called Las Señoritas, which is strange because I'm a total gringa. My mom's full Italian, Sicilian. My dad was Irish. And so I have no, Mexicana blood, but my heart is definitely Mexicana.
But you speak the language well. Like your accent is good.
I do my best. I learned kind of from the streets, although I took all the courses in college. In high school, I didn't really learn much from the actual classroom. I learned more just being in the industry, in the music industry, period. So yeah, I didn't really have a lot of musical people, encourage me as a kid because they weren't professional musicians in my family. They just kind of did it as a hobby. Anybody who was part of the band or whatnot. So it was definitely a passion of mine that I wanted to play. I chose the trumpet. It was going to be either trumpet or drums, which is why percussion is still a passion to me. And I chose trumpet because I used to watch this TV show growing up called F Troop, and they had reveilles on the beginning of every show, which none of the girls in my band even know what that show is because I'm much older than them, but I love playing the reveilles, all the horse race songs and the military songs, fanfares basically with the trumpet.
So that's where the love came from?
That's why I picked up the trumpet, because I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I used to actually play taps on the playground when I was in 4th grade just because it was one of the first songs I learned on the trumpet because it was so easy. And from that point on, I, of course, learned the typical band stuff, classical music. Then I got into the jazz program. Luckily, I was blessed enough to be part of a music program that was beyond normal. It was so advanced, especially for a public school system, not being a private music school or anything like that. I was lucky enough to go to Los Altos High School under the direction of Don Gunderson, who's a legend. They actually call him legendary, a band director. He and I are still in contact. He's of course retired now, but he changed my life. And
shout out to him, huh?
Don Gunderson. the best band director in the world, and he motivated me so much and made me work so hard, and it was very challenging and pushed me to do every honor band possible. I marched the Rose Parade during high school,
Really?
doing the honor band
Wow.
for the official Rose Parade band, and then I was a herald trumpeter for 2 or 3 years with the Queen's Float, and of course all the honor bands, SCSBOA and Southern California honor bands, and I was highly just into music, jazz and classical music. From that point on, I was just in love with teaching because of what my teachers did for me, that I wanted to become a teacher. And that's when I went to Cal State Fullerton for music education, and I was a Titan. And I
Go
was,
Titans.
Go Titans. I was literally about to finish, and they still call me alumni, which I do appreciate. I put a lot of time and love in there. When I had the opportunity to go to the OC Performing Arts Center and watch Arturo Sandoval in a concert, and went to a clinic beforehand, we met. Ended up at a backstage party afterwards. He was at a piano. He said, play me a song. I played him A Night in Tunisia from his idol, Dizzy Gillespie. And 10 minutes later, I had a full ride scholarship to go to Florida International University in Miami for jazz performance. And I was like, what?
No way.
Yeah, like, what do you mean? And I thought it was a joke. And a month later, he contacted me and said, hey, we need your audition tape. We still got to do things formally. And it was just a matter of time. And it probably closed out Cal State Fullerton that year and said, I'm going to make a change. And I packed a minivan up, drove across the country, left it at the Miami International Airport, and started my life over there, which was crazy. My parents disowned me for a good amount of time for that decision because I was supposed to be doing marching band and teaching a year later. And I decided to get heavily into the jazz. Of course, living in Miami, that's when the Latin influence heavily took over. But in LA is where it started, because when I first got out of high school, my first gigs, like professional gigs, pretty much were playing salsa, where I was invited to play with Yari Morey, who's a famous salsero here from Colombia, and he was actually Celia Cruz's backup salsa band.
I love Celia Cruz's music.
So I got, imagine one of my first bosses was La Mera Mera.
No way.
The Queen of Salsa, so.
How cool is that?
How lucky was I to have that opportunity?
El Carnaval is one of my favorite songs.
And that's right when it came out,
Oh, wow.
a little few years after that. So like 18, 19 years old, I'm, getting to play Playboy Jazz Festival with her and just travel and do these cool events with other great salsa artists.
And you were playing the trumpet or what?
Playing trumpet, yeah.
Okay.
And so when I went to Miami, it wasn't a shock. It wasn't shocking for me. It was like I almost felt at home because I'd already fallen in love with this music. So I hadn't turned Mexicana yet. I was still more Colombiana, Dominicana, Cubana, Puerto Riqueña. I was still in Latin America.
Gone around the globe, huh?
Right. I was learning all the accents, all the best foods. The beans change for every place, and I was trying to figure out what I love best. Do I love the black beans? Do I love the red beans? And I loved the culture. Something about it. I would ask, like, give me the most popular food dish, which is why I'm a little chubby now. Those food dishes are the best. And I would learn how to dance the style, if it was from Cuba or if it was from Santo Domingo. We got to learn merengue, or bachata didn't even exist during this time yet. It was just starting. So, I was...
This was like 90s or something?
Yeah, exactly. 92.
92. Okay.
So I was just engulfed in Latin music.
It's like a melting pot.
Dance,
like a melting pot.
Food,
Wow.
people, accents, and people thought I was nuts because I would say, "Tell me something, let me hear accent," and it's funny because, like, why does this gringa care? Why does she care? And I did care. I cared so much because it almost made me feel bad that people assume that just because you were from LA, you were Mexican.
Oh.
And that I felt like people weren't not able to celebrate their cultures, and we were not educated enough in the schools to understand that you can be any color and be from any place.
Exactly.
You are not just one color from somewhere, or look a certain way, or speak Spanish, and that automatically makes you from Spain or from Mexico, or
Exactly.
And it almost made me angry, and I wanted to get more educated so that I could educate the people that were just like me, uneducated. And I felt like I could be a platform for that, and that's exactly what I became. I became like this international, girl.
I love how you said that. You wanted to become the platform, right, for others to be able to learn from you,
right,
of those that weren't familiar with the different music, culture, food You were like
accents.
You were like the resource center person, you know?
Yeah, because I mean, it was funny to hear me say, ¿Cómo tú estás? Que hay que de nuevo? Or, change up the accent and say, órale, güey, que bueno, onda, güey. And, I would learn all the fun accents.
She's also a stand-up comic, man.
I'm not a stand-up comic. I just love the culture. There's everything about Latin America. A lot of times people say, oh, you love the Mexican music. And I say, I love it all. I love it all. So I hadn't actually hit yet the mariachi scene until I came back to LA, which I'm a family person. I missed my family immensely, and I needed to come home at some point. So when I came home, Celia was still doing a lot in LA, and I came and joined her right away again.
Celia Cruz,
yes.
Legend, right? We all know Celia Cruz, a
La
legend. La Reina.
And performing with Yari More again, it was a blast. And that's when the Sinbad show was on, and all,
Yes.
That era right there,
Yes.
around 96, 97. And that's when I was invited by a mariachi group called Mariachi Las Alondras, an all-female group that had just started maybe a year previous. And they said, look, we need a trumpet player. Somebody saw me playing in a salsa club, and they invited me to play at Mariachi USA, which we know what Mariachi USA is.
Yes.
By Roger Rodriguez. And it was around 98, right before I had started my group. And I said, yeah, let's do it, because I was always up for a challenge. But I did not understand that mariachi music wasn't going to give me a book of music and say, here's your charts. And, it was literally like, you have to know 10,000 songs today.
Wow.
in any key, and have to know the way every different arranger, is it by Juan Gabriel or is it by Chente? And I didn't realize the challenge that was ahead. And to this day, I'm still, it's
a
the
learning process.
I have never had so much respect for musicians than the mariachi community that has to memorize so much and just know so much constantly, because there's always new music on the radio and you're expected to have it memorized and you're expected to know it in every key. And if there's a girl singing or a boy singing, and there's just so much, it's not a logged in, we're going to play Beethoven 5 today and it's the same way every time. It doesn't work like that. It's always different, and it depends the group you're playing with. So it was really hard for me to be part of a mariachi without any background. Luckily, I relied on my improvisational skills that I had learned and studied with, being, mentored by people like Arturo Sandoval, who gave me that full ride jazz scholarship, to study and to learn how to improvise and how to use my ears and understand keys. I was able to create a lot and to write out my own arrangements or transcriptions of songs and start building my own repertoire. And when I put all this time in, I was like, I kind of want to stay, because who wants to invest all this time and then walk away? It's like, I want this challenge. But the one thing that I felt where I was lagging on, where I wasn't really feeling this group, was because I didn't have control. I wasn't the leader. And part of me has always been a leader. I'm always wanting to take control and move things. And when I told the ladies, hey, you know what? I don't want to just do gigs here and there, and this is a hobby. I want to take this to another level. This is something beautiful. We should have music on the radio. We need to record. We need to produce. We need to really make waves here, because this is something unbelievable. It wasn't my first girl band I had been in, which we called the girl band, but female ensemble. I had actually started my own salsa band previously. Really hard to do. You can only work weekends. You got to bring a sound system. It's a huge band. It wasn't so easy. Your nightclub thing. When I went to the mariachi scene, it was so different, because I realized you can work at 5 a.m. doing mañanitas till midnight. You don't need to necessarily have the sound system. You can work with any size group, from a trio to 15 ladies if you wanted. There was so much flexibility, and I thought, this is something extremely marketable. Yes, I thought on the business side, but also it's beautiful, because all these women are together and there's no limit on what you can learn.
Well, I like what you said there. I mean, it goes to show that you're also a very smart businesswoman. I mean, this all took a lot of business savvy. You weren't just somebody that was taking in all those, food, culture, music. You entrepreneur. I mean, here at the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, we work with so many entrepreneurs, so many business owners. We try to give them so many support and resources, right? And you're just sharing how you also were this businesswoman, because to build this empire, I mean, we're going on 24 years.
24
Mariachi
years,
Divas?
19 albums.
19 albums.
Yeah.
24 years, 19 albums, folks. That is a business that you've taken, like you said, to another level.
Really, really not easy. I wish I could say the road was easy, but you can understand, this blonde, blue-eyed girl running into the mariachi world, holding a male-dominating instrument, on top of it a trumpet, didn't get open doors everywhere. It wasn't open. It wasn't easy. Especially recording my first album, a lot of people didn't understand my concept of it. Celia Cruz had actually passed away while I was recording, while I was in process.
That hit you pretty hard, probably.
It hit me very hard because she was such a heavy influence, it's just such a strong musical influence in my life, and a woman at that. And I took a turn on what I was going to record. So instead of making it a very mariachi album for my first album, it has carnaval, it has guantanamera, it has original music, has a lot of percussion and drums and solos, and it was very influenced. Like, what is going on?
To our young listeners, there was these things back then called CDs.
Yeah, CDs, and the CD came out, and
Yes, right.
we got it in Tower Records, and we got it in the stores, and
Was that a great feeling just to see your first CD?
well, there's a whole story to that. Let me tell you that we haven't got there yet. But it was not open arms. It was really hard because people didn't understand that we were a mariachi. But through the mariachi, I was honoring a genre of music.
Yes.
So they assumed, why is she here in our music, destroying it? And that was the mentality, because a very traditional, old school mentality when in the 90s. Now it's very different. I had to break down a lot of barriers for that to happen, but now it's a lot. There's a lot more going on out there now, where people are not using the mariachi suit as they used to, and not performing the same way every time, and changing the arrangements and doing more original music. And the groups have changed, and the instrumentation and the forms, but that took 2 decades to get to that point.
So the suit obviously is very important as far as keeping the tradition,
Yes.
right?
For
And the
me,
cultural.
For
right?
me, it's important. I will tell you that I was probably one of the first here in LA that decided to put on pants and try it, because we did play so much dance music and we got known for that. I would actually do a switch out in my shows and put like in a big concert, the second half, put pants on, bring the congas out, and do a bunch of cumbias. And I thought it was really fun. We did the Fiesta Broadways, we did all those things here in LA that they offer, but something was missing. And I'll tell you the word that I lost by doing that. It was a respect. And not that we were disrespected, but there was something special that when people saw us in the full mariachi suit, I almost felt like military. You know how you respect a military person?
Of course.
And that's when I realized that when I put the suit on, I'm not just representing a music, I'm representing an entire country, a flag. And that is truly special. And when I took it off, I was just playing a music. But when I put the suit on, there was a heavy respect. And I fell in love with that. And I just loved that people were looking at us for the music and not for the bodies or it was something beautiful. And I decided at some point, you know what, I'm just going to keep the suits and I'm going to keep it like this. Because that was my personal choice. Nothing wrong with anybody else making their choices. Everybody has their own choice, and there's room for everyone to do what they want. That was just my choice. Now, when I went in to start the Divas, I had left the Alondras, and I told the girls, I'm going to go ahead and do my own thing, and those who want to follow me can. And half the group did, and half didn't, and that group no longer exists now, but I'm grateful that it did at some point, because I wouldn't be here if it didn't, doing the Divas. But my goals were different. I wanted to record. I wanted to compose. I wanted to arrange and someday engineer. Now I have my own recording studio and I'm learning to do that. So produce.
You have your own recording studio?
Yes, 7th Avenue Studios. And
so anybody out there that is looking to record can come out to you also?
Yes.
If they want to record?
Yes, we've had a lot of artists come in. It's not just Divas that we record in the studio. So we've had
not
several
just
artists.
mariachi. It could be anything.
Especially during the pandemic, that was my savior because nobody could be in person. So I actually had... It was really cool how it works. So people don't know this, but in order to make an album, we would actually pop around to different studios. So that person would record in their studio, email us the tracks. We would put our part. I was part of so many albums and collaborations, and I never left my home.
It's like putting the pieces of the puzzle together
that's exactly
in different
what
areas.
It was. And it was really amazing. And we felt so safe in my own studio because I could have people come in, go direct to the studio. I had the, spray downs and the little contraptions to get rid of the virus and whatever people thought we had to do. And it was cool because it was controlled and I liked that. So my goals were big, and I even told, one of the Divas had told me later, she's not in the group anymore, but you even said in when you first started the band in 1999, Cindy, by 10 years, you'll have your first Grammy. And 2009, I did win a first Grammy. So I set a goal.
2009. Did you guys hear that? Grammy winners right here, the Mariachi Divas.
First female mariachi to be nominated for an American Grammy. We won that same year. We tied with Mariachi Los Camperos in Atacano, which is beautiful because it was 2 mariachis that had never won in that category. So we did that together. And then altogether, we've had 8 American Grammy nominations, 3 Latin Grammy, and we won our second Grammy in 2014 for Best Regional Mexican Album of the Year.
Congratulations. Let's
Thank
shake
you.
on that. That is just, no, really.
That was a huge dream for me. So huge, like.
I mean, when you think
no
about
other.
where you came from, where it all started,
Yeah.
how you traveled all over, you learned the different music. I know it's
I can see your eyes. I feel like I'm looking through glasses.
It's one of those things where it almost seemed like the journey was worth, right? The struggle.
Absolutely.
Right?
When they say like, you don't appreciate true love unless you've had your heart broken. You get what I mean?
Yes.
Like you gotta be at your lowest point to enjoy your highest point. And if you don't work for something, there's no appreciation towards it. And I really felt like the most beautiful part about it is that it wasn't just me; it was a team. Whatever my team was in that moment, we did it. And I give thanks to all previous divas of all the last 24 years because we all built together, and I'm so grateful for that. And I'm so grateful to see the success stories of the people that are now not in my band but have started their own mariachi groups all throughout LA and everywhere else, or doing their solo careers, seeing them on TV. Also getting nominated for Grammys, and I go, wow, we were all together at one point, dreaming together, and they went off. And it's kind of like Beyonce leaving Destiny's Child,
Exactly.
You got to be happy for her because she's a success story, and that means that something went right in her previous years, whatever her training was. I feel the same way about the divas. Wherever they land, as long as they're successful, that makes me look good.
Of course.
If I have a bunch of ladies that leave my band and don't do anything else with their musical careers, what does that say about the way I inspired them? I didn't inspire them.
You're a great mentor to them, right?
I train leaders, and that's my goal. So right now, as we're talking, there's a diva group working somewhere, but I'm not there. Are they going to be okay? Yes, because we train leaders here. We train ladies to be confident, to make good decisions, to be respectful, to always give 100%.
And I will say, she had 4 great leaders yesterday at our house, or this weekend at our house for my mother-in-law's birthday. And these young ladies, you're right, young leaders, very confident, very fun, just interacted with the family. And I must say, this wasn't the first experience. My sister had hired Mariachi Divas for her daughter's quinceañera at the mission, church there, and it was huge. You brought your whole team. It was a great experience.
Was I there?
Yes, you were there.
Perfect.
Actually, my sister remembers you very well.
Okay, good.
And so, let's get into this new album. Please
Yes.
share with everybody this new album because it's got an 80s theme, right? I saw Madonna songs, Michael Jackson. Share
Right.
with everybody about this new album. It's very exciting. That's going to be launching, or it's launched.
It released on May 26th. It already launched.
Okay.
It's available on all digital platforms right now.
Download it, buy
yes.
it, support.
Please, Spotify, Apple Music. I wanted to do an vinyl because it's 80s, but that takes a long time to
course,
make, and it's a
yes.
big deal. So for right now, it's digital, but in the near future, that is a goal of mine. I thought this would be the coolest album to do that with. This album kind of takes me back to my first album.
Okay.
It's something so out of the box and so off the whole mariachi thing, and it's never been done before. A lot of people have taken translations of songs and released them 80s, 90s, 70s, whatever it is. But we took a turn and got Edgar Cortázar, who's a very famous composer and lyricist, who created our own lyrics for these that don't exist. They're not translations. So you could be hearing the music, but it's the lyrics are about something totally different than what you're used to. Like Girls Just Want to Have Fun is now about losing a love. It doesn't connect the way you would assume it does. So it gives a twist, and it's going to make you relearn the song and learn to love it in a different way. Some of them are pretty similar, some are not, but they all have Spanish lyrics. Even taking Conga by Gloria Estefan and making it into Spanish.
Wow.
So she did the opposite. She took Conga, very fun, danceable Latin song, and put it in English and made Americans fall in love with it. We're going to take it now and make the Latino community fall in love with it. We just released a video for that also this last weekend, so they can look up our Conga video. We have a lyrics video also. And
I love the cover. It looks really cool. They're all dressed in like 80s theme, right?
yeah, so I gave everybody free option, like, who's your favorite artist? What do you want to be? And it's funny because a lot of the girls just went to Amazon because they're 20 years old.
Exactly.
And so you find these similar outfits, and I'm like, I think I had that outfit, in my dance class or something in 1984. But some took actual artists, like we have Boy George, we have Madonna.
Yes.
I was totally a mix between Flavor Flav and Run DMC. I couldn't decide, so I wore the clock and I put the Adidas outfit on. I just couldn't decide which one I wanted to be. So,
Yes.
because I'm totally the hip hop girl. Everybody had their own idea. One girl's wearing roller skates.
I
Super
saw that.
fun.
Yes.
You know, the headbands, fluorescent. So yeah, we did do that without the suits. That was like, let's just honor the 80s. I'll just go all the way and do it. So this is definitely a twist. I'll tell you, the last previous albums since pandemic and on have been very sad or traditional.
Okay.
Because I tend to record what I'm feeling in the moment.
Of course.
When the pandemic hit, the name of my album was a song that I co-wrote called Esta Distancia. Distance.
Okay.
Because we were all distance.
Okay.
Okay. Very sad. Songs of losing somebody. Songs you play at funerals.
A bereavement. A lot of bereavement,
Yeah,
right? A lot of
very
people I
sad.
lost. Yes.
Very sad album because that's what I felt. And I have to record what I feel or it wouldn't be true.
Exactly.
You know? And after that, same thing, it kind of still was in the mellow mode. We're still coming out of things. This last album I did before this, called La Hora Feliz, it's called Happy Hour. Try to get a little happier, but we went the traditional side, doing very famous rancheras, because Vicente Fernandez had passed away, and I thought we should do something
That's right.
to honor some of his songs, you know, and that's what I did on that one, you know, Hermoso Cariño, and there's just the classics.
I love that song,
Yeah.
Hermoso Cariño.
That's a really beautiful one on the album.
Yes.
So this one that came around was after my stroke, which I know we were going to talk about. I had a stroke on September 12th, 2022.
I'm so sorry to hear about that. That is just
Thank
insane.
you. I'm
right?
happy to be here to talk about it, because if I can save one life with my story, then it's worth it. It is Stroke Awareness Month in May. We're still here. And but for me, stroke awareness is every day, and it's 24/7. And anytime I get opportunity to talk about it, I will, because like I said, if I could save a life, I will. Especially in the music business, entertainment industry, we run ourselves to the ground. We don't get to rest. Our minds never rest. We don't get home and it's over, because there's something that exists called a cell phone, which is now a smartphone that keeps us on doing TikToks, Instagrams, Facebook, you know, events, promos, the calls, contracts. We never ever stop.
Well, it's the fast-paced world, and of course, it doesn't help that we have bad eating habits, right? We're up late, right? We don't get enough sleep. And you mentioned earlier when you arrived here, of course, things like high blood pressure, right?
Yeah.
So when you're talking about stroke, these are things we have to be aware of, right?
Exactly. And there's the two different types of strokes. There's the hemorrhage stroke, which is what I had, and then there's the clot, you know.
Yeah.
And I had basically a brain aneurysm. It's called a subarachnoid hemorrhage.
Wow.
Had it been inside the brain, I was told yesterday, I just did a news show yesterday, and the neurologist had told me, had it been inside the brain, I probably wouldn't have lasted, you know, like the doctors had said in the hospital, more than 60 seconds. It was in between. It was in the subarachnoid area, which you can look up, subarachnoid hemorrhage. And luckily the bleeding stopped on its own, is why I'm alive. Otherwise, my brain would have swelled and I wouldn't have made it. Most people that suffer from that type of hemorrhage do not live, and if they do, they live with a lot of disability, like not being able to eat, walk, you know, swallow food.
And I know
talk.
your journey has been tough after your stroke, so I must say, it is a blessing to see you here.
Thank you.
Today, because I follow you. We talk on Facebook, and I see.
Yeah.
And I know it was tough for you.
It's I think what caused the stroke, yes, high blood pressure, but before that, losing my father was just a huge toll on me.
I saw
and
that. I'm sorry
mom
about
getting
that.
sick right after that, I contacted you. Even I was desperate to find help for her. I didn't even know where to turn. I had gone from like being this, even though I was in my 40s, because I was 47 when this happened. I'm 48 now. Even though I was in my 40s, you're still a baby to your parents, and you still rely on them no matter what, you know. And for all of a sudden that to be gone, and you're like the only one in control. You're a single mother. I have 2 kids, an 11 and 22-year-old now, and you're like, what am I going to do? I'm in charge now. There's nobody to lean on. There's no babysitter for the 11-year-old, or he was younger at the time. It's all on me now, and all this pressure, just
All this stress, right?
stress. And then on top of it, Divas are doing, 10 Coco shows a day at Disney. We're on tours. We're on media tours. We're doing El Capitan.
Did you say 10 Coco's shows a day?
Yeah, 10
From
Coco
the
shows a
Coco
day.
movie?
Yes.
That is amazing.
That's what we're doing, and that's what we do at the Disneyland Resort. But at the same time, El Capitan calls us and says, we need you to open up all the Disney Coco movies. This is all around this is in the time of my stroke, September 12th. So I had literally just got off stage, and I was about 40 minutes out from my last show.
Wow.
And I got the most incredible headache you could ever imagine. I found out later it's called a thunderclap headache. And that is the first sign that you're having a brain hemorrhage, that type of stroke. It's not where you lose.
So you took yourself to the
I
hospital?
was with somebody, another
Okay.
musician. I said, something's wrong. I lost pressure on my left side and almost kind of went deaf on my left side.
Wow.
And that's when I said, this is not a headache like a migraine. This is something. I knew it was brain related.
Wow.
I just felt it. And I said, take me to the ER. On the way to the ER, that's when I kind of lost it. And the nausea, the vomiting, all the signs. And that's where I did. And that's when I got to the ER, they said, we believe she's having a stroke, but we have to figure out where. So I had to do the MRI, CAT scan, angiogram. Woke up in the ICU the next day. And when I said, it was still during COVID time, I could only have 2 visitors a day. And that was it. You couldn't interchange. They recommended you probably want your 2 visitors to be like a lawyer and a notary and get your things in order, because at any point you can lose your life. We cannot guarantee
That's
you're
when
going to
you
walk
knew
out of
it
here.
was pretty serious.
Yeah, I literally said goodbye to like people. Like I talked to my kids and I was like, I don't know what's going to happen, so let's get everything in order. And that's when I realized change was needed. And if I make it through here, I'm going to be a voice forever and ever till my time is to go, to try to save a life. And that has been my goal, to do that. Since I got out, I have been a representative for American Heart Association. I'm going to do the walk this year. It's at the Rose Bowl, I believe October 22nd. I'm going to put a team together. This month, I'm doing the Walk for Dad, 60 miles, trying to always raise money for those foundations and get awareness out that we have to take care of ourselves.
Well, we're glad to see that you're okay and that you're doing great, because we love Mariachi Divas and we love what you have built.
Thank you.
We love having you at the Estrella Awards. You guys are always just amazing. Thank you for being there for all these families that reach out to you. Thank you so much. I mean, the brightness, the fun, what you guys bring to the family gatherings, the quinceañeras, to the weddings, not just the big professional events.
Right. That's important to me.
Right?
That's something that always carried with me. A lot of people would say, why are you still doing those things when you can just do tours? And I said, because those are the foundation of what we are. We are essential musicians. We really are. During the pandemic, we became the essential musicians, the only ones that could go out and work no matter what. So it's really important that we stay true to that and remember that we have to still love our fans everywhere and anywhere.
Well, Paul's giving me the stinky eye because we got to go. I'm so sorry that,
Okay.
it went by so fast. I want to thank you for being here. I want to just remind everybody, please go out, download, buy the album. Tell them the name again of the album, please.
I want to say the name of the album is Puro Ochentas, Pure 80s, Ama Tu Vida, Love Your Life, and this represents my new chapter in life, the new Cindy, and health. Take care of yourself, sleep, download the album, you're going to love it.
Definitely support, because, listen, guys, this is history in the making. All-female mariachi that's gone, 24 years. And next year, on the 25th anniversary, we're going to throw a big party, right?
Absolutely.
We're going to celebrate, and
Yes.
we're going to have a good time. So thank you for being here. Again, folks, we have Cindy Shea here with us, Mariachi Divas in the house, and we wish you all the best, and hopefully soon we can have you again and have another update on how the album went or the next album, okay?
Sounds great. I'll be here.
All right, Paul, take it away. Thank you very much.
Well, there you have it. One more reason to tune in each and every time to meet our community. The Hispanic business community here in Orange County, powered by the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio, streaming live from our studios here at the University of California Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Center.